Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be covering the Vieta formula and this is part one of this, and specifically we're going to be looking at the sum rule. So there are two parts of the Vieta formula. There's a sum rule and then there's the product rule. So today we're only going to be focusing on the sum rule for this video. So let's get right into it. I just want you to ignore this part of here because it says it's about the product rule for now. So for the polynomial equation, sigma n from r is to 0, a r x r is equal to 0, a n cannot be equal to 0. The sum of the roots is minus a n minus 1 over a n. Now you must be wondering, what the heck did I just say? Let me break it down. So first off, let's look at what does the roots mean. So the roots, I want you to practically ignore this. This polynomial, this represents a polynomial. This polynomial could be anything like x cubed plus x squared plus 5x plus 7. This could be your polynomial that they've given you in the question, and they'd ask you in the question, find sum of roots. Now, what is a root? So a root is an x-axis intersect. That means that you have a graph, like let's take a parabola. These 2 points would be your roots. These 2 points right here would be your roots. And those are your axis intercepts. So hence those are your roots. So to find the sum of the roots, what you have to do is apply this formula over here. So what does that mean? I just want you to remember this formula for now, and then we're going to go into a question and we're going to figure this out. So over here, if you don't want to use the Vieta formula, you can try to find it yourself, but if it is a paper one question and they ask you to find some of the roots, which they usually will in a paper one, they won't ask you in a paper two or paper three, you can't solve this without the Vieta formula. You cannot. This polynomial is really hard to plot and it will take a lot of time, it will waste a lot of your time. And to figure out the roots is a really difficult task as it is in a quadratic, which makes it really simple. And it is in a linear. It's higher than a quadratic, it's higher than a linear, which makes it really hard to find the roots. So hence why we have to use the Vieta formula. So this is our formula over here, and I want you to mug this up. Pause the video and just mug this up. If you don't understand it, I will go through it now. So what does this mean? So a n minus 1, is this a downwards power? Essentially, yes, that is what it is, but it doesn't do anything. This a n minus 1 means that, let's say we're taking this polynomial over here. The n in this case would be the highest power of x. So the n in this case would be 3, as the highest power is here, which is 3. So our n would be 3. N minus 1 is 2. So what they're asking for here is a2. What this means is that a is not x, obviously. A is whatever is written here. What's the word for it? The constant that goes with your variable x for each of its powers. So in this case, our constant would be 1. For x squared, our constant would also be 1, but for x, our constant would be 5. Now, I hope that makes sense. So essentially, when they ask for a n minus 1, that just means that whatever the highest power of x is, that minus 1, and then whatever that constant has, so n minus 1 means 2, so the constant of this would be 1, because the constant of x squared is 1. Okay, let's do a question. Hopefully that clears up a little bit more. So let's just write down our Vieta formula before attempting anything. So minus a n minus 1 over AFN. Okay, so we have cubic equation 3x squared plus 5x squared plus 2x minus 4 is equal to 0. Uh, the roots are x1, x2, and x3. So without solving the equation, find the sum. They should say the sum of roots. They've asked us to find the sum of roots. So we have to apply this Vieta formula. And they specifically state in the question to not solve the equation. So you cannot use your calculator either. So what we have to do here is use our Vieta formula. So how are we going to do that? So we know our n is going to be 3. Yes? So n minus 1 is going to be 2. So we found that out. So n minus 1 is 2. Now we look at the constant. So a of 2 over a of 3, because n doesn't change here. There's nothing happening to n over here. So a of 2 over a of 3, what does that equate to? So that equates to, oh sorry, there's a negative here too. So that means the constant of x squared, which is 5, so 5 over negative 5, because the negative is given in the equation, over the constant of x to the power of 3, which is 3. So your answer is negative 5 over 3. That is all there is to it. I hope that makes sense, and I hope that's clear. I've attached the question on the next slide for you guys to attempt, and the mark scheme is also on here. The Canva link will be in the description below, along with a link for one-on-one tutoring with me for half an hour. Whenever you want, you can book it, and it's completely for free, so go ahead and do that. And please do check out the Canva slides, as there is a practice question for you guys to attempt. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and have a good day.